Good morning and welcome to another day on Planet Doug here in Sumatra. I'm on my bike just leaving from my little lodging there, and the plan for today is to ride up this road. So it's going to be uphill the entire way basically. I just want to see what is on this road. I mean, the other day I rode as far as Ponot Waterfall, but I've never been beyond Ponot Waterfall, so that's where I want to go. And I know just from looking at Google Maps, beyond Ponot Waterfall there are more waterfalls, and since we'll be climbing the whole time, hopefully there's going to be a couple of nice views of this river valley. And there are some power generating stations that I might be able to check out. And that's pretty much it. And then coming back should be easier, of course, because it'll be largely downhill the entire way. But I almost didn't go this morning. I was actually going to go yesterday morning. Woke up early, was all prepared. But it's been incredibly rainy. I don't know whether we're in a rainy season or not, but it's been raining a lot. And the main reason to do this ride is for the views. So I was hoping for a clear, like really clear sunny day. And yesterday was just cloudy and rainy. The day before that as well, and the day before that, really been a lot of rain. Could be heading into a rainy season, like I said, or maybe not, I don't know. And then this morning when I woke up, again pretty early before the sun was out, I looked outside and it was just covered in fog and mist. And then it just seemed to be gray clouds, like rain clouds everywhere. So I wasn't going to go. But then, I just happened to glance outside and there was a little bit of blue sky. So I thought I would take a chance, and here I am. I had a bit of an unusual day and night yesterday because at this hotel I've been pretty isolated, which I've enjoyed so much. There's been nobody at the hotel except for me and the staff. I don't know how many rooms they actually have available for guests. Not that many, 2, 3 maybe at the most. And I'm occupying one of them. And I've had the whole place to myself. But yesterday, a group moved in, like a Indonesian family of some kind. And they were in 2 big silver trucks, like SUV kind of vehicles. One of them had a big pile of luggage up on the top. And I wasn't aware of any of this until later on. It wasn't until I heard the noise that I realized I wasn't alone anymore, because they had a whole bunch of children with them. Or at least it sounded like a whole bunch of children to me. But of course, with my attitudes, one child is more than enough. One child is one too many. And of course, man, the noise level was out of control. They were running, and everything is wood there, wooden floors, wooden walls. So every footfall was like a drum beat, boom, 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 just never-ending chaos once you get a bunch of children in a hotel like that. Yeah, and the water situation has gotten worse. There's 2 bathrooms there up on the hotel. Both of them just have a big tub with a water supply. And there's no tap or anything like that. The water just flows endlessly and keeps it full right to the top. So I think the water just comes from the river, something like that. It's not like they're paying for the water. It's just there's water everywhere around us, flowing everywhere. All you got to do is lay down a hose and run it into your bathroom, and you've got all the water you could ever need or want. So I was really enjoying that, you know, the big bucket bath, just doosh, whoosh, whoosh, you know, bucket after bucket of ice cold water. Really nice. You really got to watch out for those speed bumps. That one right there is just completely invisible. It's just like in the pavement. There's no paint, no markings of any kind, which is why I tend not to go very fast on the downhills. But something went wrong with the water recently. The water just stopped flowing. I don't know why. And occasionally some water is there, sometimes it's not. The other bathroom tends to have water flowing, but not mine, the one that I have access to. So I don't know what's going on. And now with all these other people there, they used up all the water, and now water has become a precious commodity. Funny thing is, the water, like I said, comes from some sort of a natural source, from a river or something like that. So some sand and gravel comes with it. And inside this tub, the bottom gathers like an inch of gravel and sand. And when the water level gets all the way down to the bottom, you only got 1 or 2 inches, you can scoop up a little bit of water, but then you also scoop up a big handful of dirt. So now you're like dumping dirt into your hair while you're washing. Anyway, life has gotten more rugged the last couple of days with all the people. Yeah, and you can tell how many people there are. That's the normal way, I think, for Indonesians to travel, where someone like me to show up by myself and pay for one room and live in it by myself is quite rare. But they would have, I don't know how many, it looked like they had 6 people to a room, so it ends up being a lot more economical than being on your own. Yeah, a whole bunch of dogs out here. One of them come running towards me. Hey there, buddy. Dangerous road for dogs. Hey there, buddy. Still haven't seen a gibbon. I've been looking and looking and looking every time I hear them, but I haven't seen a gibbon anywhere. So this is a little bit of a game of chance today, how the weather is. The way it turned out, I should have been on the road like 2 hours ago already. Enjoyed the cool morning and then some clear skies. It's already gotten cloudy though. We will see what happens. If it looks like it's going to rain heavily, I'll just turn around and coast back. There's also been a lot of power outages here, which has made life a little bit more complicated for me. Ever since I got here, the power goes out several times a day, but usually just for a short period. You can usually count on it coming back, but the last couple of days, the blackout has lasted for hours. One day, it was almost the entire day. Power went out in the morning, mid-morning or something like that, and it didn't come back until 5 o'clock, I think. So there was no power for the whole day. Yeah, my knees have been okay on this little excursion. But today, I don't know, my right knee is giving me some problems. That's got me worried a little bit. I can feel it twinging. this ride doesn't hurt my knees. We'll see. If it really starts to hurt, I'll just turn around and go back. Yesterday was a Sunday, and I didn't go anywhere outside of my little village there. But I saw lots of people going by, like weekend trippers, going by on scooters. Usually couples, young couples, having a weekend trip, like going to one of the waterfalls or something. So a lot of people on the roads yesterday. And there were probably a lot of cyclists too, like sports cyclists getting exercise. But I didn't see any. They probably went by when I wasn't looking. But today is a Monday, so the roads will be quite a bit quieter, I would think. Just people working. Yeah, I'm back in my happy place. First gear, between 4 and 5 kilometers an hour, grinding uphill. Perfect silence other than the motorcycles. Yeah, I'm not really hearing any birds. I'm not hearing any gibbons. Yeah, there's a whole family of pitiful dogs here. Like this one up ahead, that puppy has scabies. Yeah, it's a horrible thing, scabies. Like the mother will have terrible scabies, lose all her fur, skin is all inflamed and itchy, lives with that for her entire life, and then every time she has a litter of puppies, of course, the puppies will get the scabies from her as they're feeding, and then the puppies begin their life with scabies, and they lose all their fur and live in that condition. It's pretty horrible, but yeah, getting rid of scabies is not easy. It takes a long time and a lot of care, and they can't really do that for all their dogs here. So once they get scabies, they're sort of stuck with it. I hear some gibbons. Beautiful cliff over there. I don't know if my microphone is picking them up. They're far away, those gibbons. So. Hello, selamat pagi. I think this is the family. That silver SUV that went by, that was part of the group. And this is the other vehicle from that group, has all that luggage on top. Looks like they're making a long journey. Yeah, I never met them. They moved in at night when it was dark already, so I never saw them. I just heard them, all the thundering children. Very quiet right now on a Monday morning. Not many people out. Gotta stretch out my right knee. Come on, knee. I almost need it to click into position. It's not feeling good. Not promising. And right up ahead, you can see the waterfall right beside the road. Yeah, I've stopped there every day that I've ridden past here just to enjoy the waterfall for a few minutes. Today, I think I'm just going to move on past. I have other waterfalls in my future, assuming I can make it up the upcoming climb. Might have to rely on my left leg for most of the climbing if my right knee doesn't start cooperating. Kwasan Rawan Longsor. Beware of rock slides. Wow, that is such a sight here. Gorgeous cliff. Yeah, over the last week or so, I have made an attempt to rent a scooter. I thought that would be fun. If it was easy to do and not so expensive, it would be fun to rent a scooter and just sort of zoom all the way up to Lake Toba, all the way down again. And I ended up speaking with two people in particular and actually made arrangements with them to rent a scooter. We were connected on WhatsApp, and this person, they had all the dates and all the information, and they just needed to contact someone and arrange the scooter. And then they all said, okay, yeah, so today I'll find out, and tomorrow I'll let you know. And then, of course, this being Indonesia, I never heard back from them. That happens all the time here. People just, they say they'll do something and they don't do it. Or they say they'll meet you somewhere at a certain time, but then they never show up. Very irregular habits with the local people here. Can be a problem at times. And I was really looking forward, if the guy had done what he said he was going to do and just let me know the next day, I probably would have gotten a scooter for a few days. That would have been fun. But never heard back from the guy. Like I said, that happens all the time, so I'm not even disappointed anymore. It's actually the reverse is true. If I make arrangements with someone here and they actually show up or do what they said they were going to do, then I'm actually pleasantly surprised, because the norm is the opposite. So the norm is that nothing ever happens. So if anything does happen, it's actually a pleasant surprise. Being disappointed is normal. I've just reached a kind of a landmark on my route today. This is one of the two bridges in this village. This isn't the old Dutch bridge, the newer one. Yeah, I'm going over the newer one instead, and I can stop here and take a look at the old Dutch bridge upriver. I'm curious whether the water level has risen with all the heavy rain last night and the day before, but I don't think so, because of all the power generating stations and all the dams. They control the water flow, so no matter how much water falls in rain, I think the river stays exactly the same. Hello. Yeah, and this is the key feature of this area, the Asahan River. And up here, should be able to get a glimpse. And partway across the new bridge, we can look over this way, and you see the old Dutch bridge, pre-independence construction. And actually on the right side of the bridge, like way up there on the cliffs, There you can see the Ponot waterfall, the very top of the Ponot waterfall. So the road I'm following from here is going to start climbing, and I think it just climbs non-stop until it gets to the top of the cliff above Ponot. So that'll be the first. I don't know whether you can see the waterfalls from up there. I don't think you can. The road gets very near that cliff edge, but from what I see on Google Maps, there's no viewpoint or anything like that. So you don't see the waterfalls at all from up high. I just heard my right knee snap. That's either a good sign, something finally clicked into place, or it's a very bad sign. I'm not sure. But from here to that not the viewpoint, but to the top of Ponot waterfall, according to Google Maps, it's like 9.3 kilometers climbing to get up there. Hello. A few times along the road, you get a nice view of the falls, the Ponot waterfalls. I thought I'd stop and capture it just a bit more. When I saw it from a certain angle, I thought the water was much greater than the day that I went there, but it was just an illusion. Now that I see it from this angle, it's pretty much exactly the same water flow as the day that I was there. Yeah, Ponot. Beautiful falls. And here's the road is just perfect for cycling. You could not ask for anything nicer than this. Smooth, flat pavement, spectacular scenery, winding around curves, giving you different views every time you go around a corner. Yeah, it's like cycling paradise, this really is. I've arrived at the intersection where the road, the small road, goes to Ponot waterfall, and that's going down towards the left. That's where I went a couple of days ago. And if you go to the right, that road takes you all the way up to a town called Porcea. According to the sign, it's 39 kilometers to Porcea, but I won't be going that far today. Yeah, every pedal stroke now is brand new territory. I've never gone this far up the road until now, so that'll be interesting. I have no idea what happens after this point. I came across a surveying crew back there. I've seen quite a number of them around, and the one man there, a young guy, he spoke English, and he said they were surveying to put in some pipeline to bring away water and sediment from a nearby dam. So yeah, it's a very complicated process. It's not as easy as you might think. I mean, when I was a kid in grade school, we built dams all the time, because in the spring we would have snow runoff, melting snow, and there'd be rivers of water going through our playground, and then we would build large dams. And the entire, like if there's an hour for lunch, we would spend the entire hour building as big a dam as we could and capturing as big a reservoir of water as we could. And then when the bell rang and we all had to go back inside, at that moment we would break the dam and just enjoy the flood of water going downstream. And you think that's all you need for a dam, but yeah, it's much more complex than that. Just judging from all of the installations that I see around me, you're dealing with sediment, you know, water flow, and diverting the water and all kinds of things you have to think about. I remember my map, I think right up ahead of me is a series of switchbacks, and these switchbacks will carry me up to the top of the cliff where the waterfall begins. Yeah, switchbacks are interesting because on the section going across the hill, it's usually steeper than the main road, but nothing crazy. But when you get to the corner of a switchback, something about the gradient and the way it all works out, for that tight corner, it suddenly becomes extremely steep just for those a few meters, and you really have to power through those. We'll see how these switchbacks are laid out. I think I can see them up ahead of me, climbing up the hillside. I guess the engineers have to make a judgment call when it comes to switchbacks. The longer you make them, the less steep the gradient has to be. But then the more expensive it is in terms of building the road, and people have to travel longer distances on that road. So you make it shorter, but the shorter you make the switchbacks, the steeper the gradient has to be. So you have to balance those two, I guess. Though I remember one of my first big cycling trips in Ethiopia, I was always looking ahead of me on the road. Of course, the roads there were extremely rough at that time. There were nothing but rocks and dirt, very difficult roads. And then you're going through the mountains, and I would look ahead of me and I would try to predict how the road was going to navigate the mountains, you know, exactly how it was going to get through. And I always picked wrong because, I don't know, I think the Italians who built the roads there were masochists or something, because I would look ahead of me and I would see the peak of the mountain, like the highest point, and I would see a low valley beside it, and I would think, well, the road has to go switchbacking up to that low valley, that saddle. And yet every single time instead of doing that, the road would go straight to the highest point of the mountain. It's like the Italians took it as a personal challenge to make the road as straight, as steep as possible, and going to the highest point. At least that's what it felt like. But I can feel it in my legs. This gradient is much, much steeper than it was down below me. Yeah, this is much more challenging. I'm down at 3.5 kilometers an hour instead of my usual 4.5. But yeah, this is taking a lot of effort to get up this grade, whatever it is. It's about 6 kilometers to the spot on the road right above Ponot waterfalls, and we're right in the middle of the switchbacks here. One nice thing about the switchback, of course, is you get beautiful views on your left side. I'm looking down the river valley over there. And then when you turn at the end of the switchback, you get views on your right side as you climb up. There's a couple of structures up ahead on the road, on the curve. Makes me think this must be a viewpoint of some kind. Yeah, I guess just looking down the river valley. Crazy to think though that I think all of these hills that we're in were sort of created by the original Toba volcano, because this whole area is like one massive volcano, and that's just a piece of the earth that just grew up. And then this is basically the slope of the volcano. So all of this geography was created by that one volcano that eventually erupted. So yeah, this is the point where there's a couple of little shops here, and this is the view from up here. And I know there's the water generating something or other over there. This is the road that goes to Ponot Waterfall, so you can see how far below me it is. That's the access to the base of the falls. And here's where, yeah, the road climbs up here. Oh yeah, look at that. Another, I never even saw that as I was riding by. Another waterfall over there. And there's the road ahead. I'm right on the corner of the first switchback. A couple of motorcycles went by, and you could hear their engines really start to rev when they hit this corner. Couple of trucks too. It's just the way physics works, I guess. At one point on the climb, it has to cut a lot steeper climb. Oh, that wasn't that bad. I was all prepared to really grind my way through it, and it really wasn't that bad at all. Must have maybe those motorbikes all just hit the throttle for some reason to go faster. I don't think they needed much more power to get around that corner. And I remember in Ethiopia, it was fascinating because the hills, the mountains that I was going through were filled with villages, like everywhere. As deep as you could go in the mountains, you'd still find villages and farms, and they were all connected by footpaths, and they carried all their goods in and out of the mountains to the local markets by donkeys. So there were always footpaths. Then the footpaths would basically go straight up and down the mountain, like in a straight line. And then when they built the roads, of course, the roads would switch back and forth, but every time it would cross the trail. So as you rode your bicycle, or if you went up in a vehicle of some kind, you would cross the same hiking trail over and over again. And then people would be walking along those trails, and you'd meet up with them at the same point, because the trail would hit the road, cross the road, and continue down in a straight line. So they're going much faster, and then you going up on your bicycle would take forever to get to the next intersection point. And in Ethiopia, the kids all made a game out of throwing rocks at me. And when I was on one of these switchbacks, and the kids would be up above me on the hiking trails, quite steep inclines, they would try picking up bigger and bigger rocks. Trying to drop the rocks from up above and hit me. Yeah, it was pretty brutal. Yeah, those switchbacks were kind of stressful because of that. All the kids constantly hounding you, and you were forced to go at this speed. Basically 4 kilometers an hour would be as fast as you could go on those roads, probably 3 kilometers per hour. So you could never escape from the tormenting children of Ethiopia. See another cluster of buildings up ahead. I wonder if it's another viewpoint off to my right this time. Yeah, I can sort of see off to my right. And ever since my right knee cracked, the pain went away, so I seem to be doing okay with my knees, so that's good. Thank goodness for first gear. Without this gear ratio, I never would make it up here. At least not now. Maybe if you do this for a few weeks and your legs get stronger, you don't need such a powerful gear ratio that I have. You could start climbing in higher gears. But right now, yeah, this is definitely my limit. Well, we've arrived at one of my goals for the day. I kind of forgot it was here. Got here much sooner. This is a waterfall. Right in the middle of the switchbacks, I guess. Make sure there's nobody coming around the corner. Scoot across. Yeah, this is a famous place for me because the Lost Boys, when they spent their day or 2 days here, this is where they were camping. They found this place. I don't know whether they knew about it in advance. Maybe they just stumbled across it. But the Lost Boys would come here, and then, yeah, they put up their tent and they camped here, and they got their meals from this warung. Yeah, Indah Walet, I think is the name of this waterfall. Anyway, I'm gonna pop in here. Check it out. That is amazing. Really beautiful. And I think it has like a spot there. Maybe you can go swimming, I'm not sure. In any event, you can definitely go hiking down there. So I'm gonna lock up my bike here and follow this trail. Get to the base of the falls. Man, gorgeous spot. Stunning. And if you were into camping, here's your spot. This is where the Lost Boys put their tent. Shelter from the rain over there, and meals, water over there. Yeah, it's really beautiful. Perfect spot, really. Right on the road, too. Yeah, I think it's called the Indah Walet Waterfall. Air Terjun Indah Walet, or something like that. But yeah, another look at it. And yeah, the trail, a little bit tricky. Steep and slippery and rocky, but let's see what we can do here. Yeah, this is definitely a hati kind of place. Careful, careful on this trail. Yeah, just right there I was slipping and sliding all the way down on that clay. Of course, it doesn't help that I'm holding a GoPro in one hand. Getting closer, really nice and cool here. The falling water creates its own wind. You can see the leaves moving here. It's because there's actually a pretty stiff breeze. And I think it's mainly because of the falling water. It makes its own wind. And the air is very damp, of course, very refreshing. I'm pretty much right down at the base now. I guess there's a pool up there where you could go for a dip if you were willing to somehow get up those rocks. That is gorgeous. And just for simple bathing, yeah, there's another pool right here. Look at that. It's just like a shower made by nature. Yeah, if you were camping here, it would be ideal. You can wash up in the morning or at night over there. Not easy to get to it, but you could do it. Just gotta get down on your hands and knees, make your way through those rocks, get cool and refresh. Look at that, that is gorgeous, really something. Just leaving from that amazing waterfall, oddly enough, that was the main thing that I wanted to check out on this ride this morning. And it's already here. But I'm not at the top of the switchback, so I thought I'd keep riding for a while, just see where this road goes. Just for a little bit. The clouds are moving in, so there's a lot of rain threatening, so I'm not going to be out here for much longer. Just going to follow this road for a little bit, get to the top of the climbs, and see how things feel, how the clouds look, but then probably turn around and zoom all the way back down again. Got a road crew up ahead digging out the ditch, the drainage ditch on the side. Man, that would be tough work. I'm not sure, but I may have come to the end of this morning's bike ride. This is the other place where the Lost Boys went, like on their day. They stopped here first. There's actually a lookout point here, so they have some nice, I don't know if this existed yet. I don't think this was here when the Lost Boys were here. Maybe, maybe not. I don't think they showed it in their video. What they showed was this spot here. So they, you know, walked out onto this little platform just to, yeah, just to look around. Yeah, it's quite a drop there. Yeah, I think if this existed, they would have shown it on their video. It might be new, I'm not sure. But from up here, you can't see Ponot Falls. They're actually around the corner. And this is the hydroelectric installation at the base of Ponot Falls that I talked about the other day. Get a nice view of it from up here. And then there's the valley, heading back to my village. While I was riding up here, I heard all kinds of gibbons. So there's actually gibbons all through here, but they're not hooting just yet. There it is, my morning coffee. Kopi hitam, just straight black coffee. The table was just covered in these ants. There's still a few of them here, but go away, ants. This is my coffee, not yours. Yeah, so many ants here. But you're in the jungle. You're going to be living amongst the ants. Yeah, this is a very nice spot to have a morning coffee. Beautiful. Yeah, the cliffs around here are spectacular. And I never saw that when I was down at the waterfalls, but you can see there's some rice fields over there. That's a beautiful spot. So I think that's as far as I'm going to follow the road today. I was looking at Google Maps pretty carefully, the satellite view. And then from here, I think you kind of leave the edge of the cliffs. You basically kind of go inland, and there's no more like really nice viewpoints along the way. So I think this is a good place to call it, especially since I see a lot of very dark rain clouds moving in. So I think it's wise to head back while the weather is still clear. So from here, yeah, it's largely downhill back to the village with the 2 bridges, and then from there it's kind of roller coaster back to my village. But for now, yeah, I'm just going to be riding the brakes a little bit, going downhill. Yeah, I'm not going to be just barreling down at high speed as fast as I can go. I've learned my lesson when it comes to that in the past. There are just way too many opportunities for something to be on the road. A pothole, a rock, a dog, a macaque, a child. You easily have an accident, so I control my speed on the way down. And besides, I like to look around. And here's the other thing, the other attraction on this road that I wanted to check out. There it is ahead of me. You can really see the setting for it right there. Indah Walet Waterfall. It actually looks a lot nicer when you get up close to it. It doesn't look like much from here, but that's a beautiful waterfall. And from here you can see the road winding down the switchbacks. Goes down in front of the waterfall down here, and then curves around here and heads off in that direction. And I'm running a time lapse on my GoPro facing forward just to capture the ride back. I'll stick that time lapse in somewhere, maybe at the end of the video, in case anyone's interested. I love a good time lapse myself. I really enjoy them. Oh, there's a rock slide. Look at that. Right behind me. That whole hillside came down. Still no gibbons. I hear them everywhere, but some amazing trees here. One good thing about going downhill as well, when you're going uphill, you tend to be more bent over. Yeah, it's harder to lift your head to look around you, but going down, more opportunities for taking in your surroundings in a way, to look around. I was pretty pleased with how my knees dealt with this climb. I had perfect confidence in them. If I had someplace to go, I think I could have kept riding up this hill all day long and my knees would have been fine. That's good news. Just at the beginning of the day, like I said, there was kind of a twinge in my right knee. Just looking down over the valley right now. And these cliffs are so impressive. There's the waterfall back there. There's another cliff over here. Sheer cliffs going straight down. Very dramatic landscape here. Just stopped to take a picture of that motorcycle with all the chickens in cages. And we're at another one of the lookout points. And there's the waterfall I came to visit, Indah Walet up there. And there's the valley. That's where I'm heading. Yeah, so much faster when you're going downhill. I'm already back at the intersection. is where you could turn off to go down to the Ponot waterfalls. Yeah, I keep talking about the abundance of water here. There's another example. They just fill that tank with water coming from off the mountain, run a bunch of hoses out of it. Endless water. Ooh, I just spotted a rock on the road. Ooh, something. When it comes to these rocks, I like to be a little bit of a good Samaritan if I can. If I see them, catch them on time, I often stop and move them off the road. I went past this one. I don't usually backtrack like this going uphill, but yeah, right there you can see that rock just came down. Pretty sure it wasn't here this morning, or maybe it was and I just didn't see it. But just one of those rocks could cause a major accident for somebody on a motorcycle. And for somebody on a bicycle, it's pretty easy to stop and just move it off the road. I've moved so many rocks off the road in my lifetime. I like to think I've prevented at least one accident. So there's one person out there maybe in the world who wasn't in a hospital with a broken leg or broken back or something. I'm recording this with my GoPro Media Mod, by the way. I don't have my good microphones connected, so I don't know how much wind noise they're picking up or how well it's picking up my voice. And here, for some reason, check that out. The huge cable actually has metal on the inside. Big hunk of cable at the side of on the road. That could easily cause an accident. It's another one of these water containers. Just a cement tub with a bunch of hoses coming out of it. I think these things are so cool, just to have that much water available at all times. There's a big one. There it is. Move it off the road. It's like a King Kong boulder. Some of these boulders end up on the road when a vehicle has a flat tire and they park their truck. To fix it, they'll put a boulder like that behind the wheel so their truck doesn't roll backwards. But then after they fix the flat, they don't bother to move the rock off the road, they just leave it there. I've seen that quite a bit. This is the intersection to go to the two different bridges. One of them, the new bridge. I went along the new bridge this morning, but going back, I think I'll go past the old bridge. Ah, look at this water container. Isn't that amazing? A mini water dome. So much water just pouring out of the top. I love that. Here it is, the old bridge, pre-independence. There's some really nice rapids here. I think in the old days, when the river was good for like professional whitewater rafting, the starting point was up there somewhere, and then you came down underneath this bridge. Yeah, again, you can see that on the Lost Boys video. Beautiful spot. This is the roller coaster part heading back to my hotel or my village, up and down. And I think I'm going to keep going all the way past my hotel to the restaurant. Hopefully it's open today and I can get my biasa, my regular, plus a ayam penyet to go for my dinner tonight. It's turning into a really nice routine. Good lunch, 2 fruit juices to go along with it, and then rice and veggies and chicken to take home with me for the next morning or that evening. It's really nice. Though I have learned that in my room, if you don't eat your food right away, you better triple protect it from ants, because the ants will just devour it. They will find it no matter where you put it. Stop here for a quick glance at the river. That is a nice view, isn't it? That captures what this whole area is like. You got that on one side, and then you've got these waterfalls and the cliffs on the other side. Right beside the road. Can't ask for a nicer scenery than that.